Joining me now, NBC News national security and global affairs reporter Dan DeLuce and former Deputy National Security Advisor Ben Rhodes. Dan, first to you. What is the FBI doing to recover the debris? Talk about the implications of the military widening its radar scope. And is there a risk that we could be getting trigger happy?
Those are concerns about, to what degree is the administration being vigilant and to what degree is it overreacting? I think they get criticism in both directions. But one thing about the recovery effort, it is not going as fast as anyone would like because the conditions are really tough. That object that was shot down off the coast of Alaska on Friday is in the Arctic Ocean, the frozen waters of the Arctic. And the recovery team is not on site yet, we were told last night by the head of Northern Command. It's also cold and difficult conditions for the object shot down on Saturday in northern Canada. So that part is difficult. The FBI is looking at some of the debris that was recovered from that Chinese surveillance balloon that was shot down off the coast of South Carolina. They are looking at some of the debris that they've recovered, but they're still trying to retrieve that debris underwater. And your question about the radar, I think that was one of the more interesting details that emerged over the weekend. And NORAD said it's taking the raw radar data, and they are now looking at smaller and slower objects in the airspace that in the past they would have filtered out and not really concentrated on because their focus traditionally has been an incoming missile or a fighter enemy aircraft. So that is interesting, but it still doesn't answer the question, which is, have these objects been present and the U.S. didn't see them, or are there literally more of these aerial objects that weren't around before?
Ben Rhodes, let's talk about the Pentagon. They're blaming what they call a domain awareness gap. So how well integrated are our radar systems? Where do you see need for improvements in our surveillance systems of near space? And, why so many objects suddenly? Is it just more that we're looking for more things? And is there a risk of getting trigger happy and shooting down something that we shouldn't be shooting down?
Yeah, Andrea, I just think it's obvious that this is because we're looking for more things. I mean, these types of things were clearly in the air before that Chinese spy balloon was shot down and attracted so much attention. And so clearly what's happened here is the amount of attention and some of the blowback to the existence of that Chinese spy balloon caused NORAD to go back and essentially change their own protocols and to focus on things that might not otherwise have got our attention in the past. And to be sympathetic, this is a vast airspace that we're talking about with a lot of objects. I think the reality is if you start pulling the thread on this, there are a significant number of balloons and other objects up there that are doing weather experiments, that are engaged in commercial activity, that are mapping. And so the challenge now, Andrea, to your question is, I think that the White House and the Pentagon has to get together and figure out a protocol for what are we worried about. Because obviously we don't want there to be Chinese surveillance balloons flying over sensitive sites. We can all agree on that. The question is, are we going to be picking off everything in the air that we don't know exactly what it is? That's not particularly sustainable either. Right now, they're erring on the side of caution because I think that's normal after you have an event like that Chinese spy balloon attracting so much attention and so much concern. But I think over time, this is going to have to settle in a place where we're able to focus on, hey, what are the characteristics of something that we actually are concerned enough about to shoot it down? And you've heard them speak to two things: the risk to civil aviation, although, frankly, these objects were probably there before the Chinese spy balloon, but that's something that we do need to take very seriously, obviously, and then the risks to national security.
Do you think China could be, if it turns out that any of these other incidents are Chinese related, are they testing us? How quickly can we respond?
Absolutely. I mean, the reality is they're watching very carefully everything that we're doing. So they can see what we're shooting down, where we're shooting it down. They can see how we're changing the nature of our radar. This is the kind of tit for tat that you engage in with an adversary like China, a sophisticated adversary. So they're watching what we're doing as well. But part of what we're doing, I think, is sending a message that our tolerance level for stuff coming into our airspace is greatly reduced from where it was just a few weeks ago. And that is its own message to China and others who might want to enter into our airspace illegally.